Imagine flying from Toronto to New York, and the plane is nearly empty. No one beside you. Entire rows left vacant. This isn't a fluke, it's a flashing red light for US-Canada travel. Air Canada alone has cut 320,000 seats to US cities, like Detroit and Tampa. Routes are vanishing. Why? Because cross-border travel is collapsing under political pressure. Trump's 35% tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and auto parts kicked off a war. Canada didn't just retaliate, they made it personal. A nationwide, Buy Canadian, boycott took off. Over 1 million Canadians joined online campaigns, swearing off American products. The goal: hit US industries where it hurts, on the shelf and in the wallet. Tourism got crushed. Canadians once made up 1 in 4 foreign tourists to the US, now that number is down 40%. And with that drop went billions in revenue. Florida lost over 1 million visitors. Border towns like Niagara Falls and Blaine deserted. Duty-free sales plunged. Tour bookings cancelled. Streets went quiet. The pain didn't stop at tourism. US factories rely on Canadian parts. When the border slowed, Stellantis shut down a plant. American farms lost export orders. Costs spiked. Defaults loom. But Canada didn't just retaliate, they adapted. They're sending seafood to Asia, oil to India, and might cut electricity exports to Michigan. They're building trade bridges elsewhere. Air travel between the two nations is cratering. Bookings are down 70%. Border crossings dropped 35%. Experts aren't calling it a pause, they're calling it a rupture. If this trend holds, America could lose 140,000 jobs tied to Canadian tourism. And it's already happening. Some states report losses of 30 to 40% in key sectors. And here's the kicker: 2026 World Cup and 2028 Olympics are coming. Cities like Miami are spending billions on upgrades, and they're terrified no tourists will come. It didn't have to be like this. US-Canada trade once hit $1.3 trillion a year. But tariffs broke trust. It's like punching your best friend, then wondering why they won't visit. In May 2025, America's trade deficit soared 19%, hitting $71.5 billion. Exports dropped. Imports rose. Tariffs didn't fix anything, they just made it worse. Tariffs are hidden taxes. A $50 sneaker now costs $64. Groceries, appliances, vehicles, all more expensive. GDP shrank nearly 5%, driven by rising import costs. Factories are slowing. Construction's pricier. Families are paying more for less. This isn't strength, it's self-sabotage wrapped in red, white, and blue. And remember, tariffs don't hit just one country. Canada hit back. So did Europe. So did China. That means fewer exports, fewer orders, fewer jobs. Canada took the hit, but pivoted fast. US exports dropped 16%. But Canadian exports to Japan jumped 23%, Germany 46%, the UK 300%. They found new partners. Canadian consumers stood firm. No rage tweets. Just new laws, 7 of them. Targeting US tourism, tech, food, and energy with precision. Tech giants like Google and Meta. Now taxed higher in Canada. Users pay more. US profits shrink. The retaliation is quiet, but devastating. New travel advisories warn Canadians, stay away from US hotspots. Gun violence, political chaos, instability. Result: fewer tourists, especially to Florida, Texas, and Michigan. Canada tightened food safety laws. That means no Iowa pork with banned additives, no pesticide-loaded corn from Illinois. Whole shipments blocked. Farmers drowning in stock. New permits now required for energy exports. Minnesota's electricity costs surged 20%. Tourism dropped 31%. Local economies are sliding into crisis. New York lost 28% of its Canadian tourists. Manhattan retailers are struggling. Exports now face new packaging and labeling hurdles at the Canadian border. In Iowa, pork and corn are sitting unsold. Prices are crashing. Input costs are rising. Farmers are stuck in a loop of losses and no way out. Detroit's auto sector bleeding. GM and Ford lost $1.2 billion from disrupted supply chains. And Canadian tourists who once flooded Detroit gone. These aren't temporary setbacks, they're deep, structural changes. Canada acted with policy, not panic. And the US is paying, economically and diplomatically. Trump said, "We don't need Canada. But now, America needs them more than ever, especially in the Arctic." The US has only 3 working icebreakers. One's from the 1970s. Russia has over 50. China's surging ahead. Meanwhile, the Arctic is heating up, literally and politically. Trump's Big Beautiful Bill allocates $8.6 billion for new icebreakers. But US shipyards are full. Skilled workers are in short supply. Completion dates delayed to 2030. Canada stepped up. Davie Shipbuilding is ready, experienced, staffed, and fast. They're teaming up with Texas and Finland. They're moving while the US waits.